greatly appreciate it. And we're just going to get rolling in just one moment. Thank you so much. And we do need a volunteer for sure. If you've never had a scan before, please put your name, or actually need your date of birth, into the chat area. So thank you so much for being here. We're also streaming live to YouTube. Go to Ariel Policano on YouTube. Please subscribe to my channel for the very latest in the Genius updates. And we're going to be doing some shorts and some fun things to the channel. So Ariel Policano. If you don't know me, I'm a naturopathic doctor, and I've been teaching and training about the Genius for about 10 years, and I absolutely love it. You never get tired of doing a Genius session because there's always something new to discover about yourself or the people that you're working with. And during the time that we're living in, we need the Genius. We need it to know where we are, what's going on with us, what we might be exposed to, what we might be dealing with. How can we take full accountability and responsibility for our own health? This is exciting. We have a technology that is so special, that is so incredible, that is so dynamic. And once you own it, you own it. We don't make you keep paying for it. We show you how to start a business with it if you want to, but it is an extremely important tool to have in your tool chest as we move forward in the world. You want to be able to check yourself, see what's going on a day-to-day basis, and we need technologies, frequency technologies, to be able to clear certain things. And I think you know what I'm talking about. So it's important. Frequency technologies are only going to be increasing in popularity because it is really a salvation for this time. If you can find the right frequency, which we've known in homeopathy since, the 1880s, if you can find the right frequency like Samuel Hahnemann found, then you can resolve just about anything. You just have to find the perfect match, the simillimum for that frequency. And that's what we seek to do by getting the voice and the picture involved. We get that person's personalized frequency and find out what's going on with them, and then give them the perfect feedback for what they're dealing with. And when you see the results with the Genius, when you hear of people with Parkinson's who are moving more normally, or people who didn't sleep for years and they're sleeping regularly, or they had chronic pain and now they're no longer in chronic pain, you recognize the power of frequency, the healing power of frequency. So today we're going to take your questions. I'm also going to be doing some highlights from our most recent learning intensive. Now, the learning intensive is available on our website. Let's go ahead and remove this. We go to the website, geniusbiofeedback.com, and you go right here where it says our mini course. Our mini course consists of 3 classes from the learning intensive, and I really highly recommend that you send this to people who want to learn about the Genius, or you review it yourself, especially the first one. I don't know who is, there's a spammer that comes into, we may have to put a password on our, class, you guys. So I'm going to tell you right now, next week there's going to be a password for the Genius training, and it's going to be Genius. So I'm going to write it right now. Okay, this is the password. I hope we can use this, the passcode for the Zoom. I may have to change it. You know what? I'm just going to do a number. Hopefully we could do this. I'm going to do 528. This is the passcode for the Zoom. For right now, hopefully that'll be it. But there's a spammer that's coming into Zooms without a password and just spamming the chat, which is really frustrating. Okay, the sound is great. The audio is fine. Thank you so much, Wendy. Hello. Okay, so anybody else quickly, if you've never gotten a scan before, now is your moment to volunteer. Okay, so thank you so much for good words about the learning intensive. And also we have a blog for today. So if you go to learn, you go to blog. If you go to our blog, you're pretty much going to find all of our past classes, all of our terahertz training, our podcast. So everything we post to the blog, and it's also, any videos are usually on my YouTube channel under Ariel Policano. So one last time, anybody who wants to volunteer, if you've never had a scan before, then this is a good time to volunteer. And we'll go last chance, and then we'll select from the group who has already volunteered. So please go ahead. If you do want to have a scan, then go ahead and put your date of birth into the chat. Also, please put your questions into the chat. What questions do you need answered about the genius today? When you were using in the past week, what questions came up? Make sure you write them down so you can ask them during our class, especially during the live class where I can read your questions and then I can answer them. You can put them in the chat. You can put them in the Q&A. Welcome to your week. Thank you for dropping in. Thank you for being part of our community. It is my great pleasure to teach people about the genius. Why do I do this? Why do I teach about the genius? Because as a naturopathic doctor, I always wanted to be a vehicle to self-empowerment. Doctor as teacher, that's one of the naturopathic principles. I want to teach you to heal yourself, to heal your body, and to be your own doctor. Now, it doesn't mean you don't need an expert every now and then to do a consult with, to get some direction. Actually, I'm available for that. If you'd like to schedule a consultation with me, just send me a message, Ariel at geniusbiofeedback.com, and we can give you some direction, even the libraries or frequencies to focus on. But every day of your life, I don't want you to have to come to me to ask me questions. I want you to know the principles of wellness and also to have a vehicle, to have an instrument or technology like the genius to be able to heal yourself. One of the most important things about healing yourself is being aware. What is going on with minerals, vitamins, herbs? What is going on with this kind of liver energetics, blood sugar energetics? We call those things stress disturbances. The genius is wonderful at giving you feedback about where you have stress disturbances. The solution for a stress disturbance is to run that feedback frequency for yourself. That's what the goal is. We want to find out where the stress disturbances are, and then give that frequency back to you or the person who needs it most. And that reduces the stress in the field. Therefore, the genius is a stress reduction tool. That is the main thing that you really want to talk about when you're talking to people about how you can reduce their stress. In the environment that we're living in today, what percentage of the population do you think is experiencing some stress? Like maybe 100%, 90%, 80%. A lot of people are experiencing stress, and you have the solution. Now, the genius does much more. But when you're speaking to your population, your people who you're interested in, your family members, you can speak very directly about the genius as a stress reduction tool. It helps to reduce stress in the biofield. And then you talk about what the results are of reducing stress. We talked about this a lot in our business launchpad. So you can go to geniusbiofeedback.com, check out the business launchpad, or if you've taken it, maybe you want to review it. There's lots of information in there all about the effects of reducing stress, because when you reduce stress, you reduce high blood pressure. When you reduce stress, you stabilize blood sugar. When you reduce stress, you sleep better. When you reduce stress, you can produce your hormones more balanced. That's how you want to make the connection. Instead of saying my genius can help you to balance your hormones, my genius helps to reduce stress. And so, but when you reduce stress, you can also, tend to produce your hormones more efficiently, more effectively. So that's how we talk about the genius without making claims. That's how we talk about the genius, its true effect. The true effect of quantum biofeedback, as it's been described over the last 20 to 25 years, and the genius is a type of quantum biofeedback, is that it is a stress reduction vehicle. It helps to reduce stress. And you can talk about this all day long without making false claims. And that's certainly what we want to do. We want to be as accurate and appropriate as possible. Okay. So yeah, we'll let everybody know what the, password is. So I won't say the password yet until I can figure out what we need to do to create a password. But we do need to create one because we have little little spammers dropping in on our on our class. All right, anyway. So now we do have volunteers. Make sure if you put your volunteering, you must put your date of birth into the chat. So make sure you put your date of birth into the chat so that we can select from our volunteers. Okay, so if somebody is pregnant, do we need to change anything when we're treating? How do we know when somebody is pregnant? Okay, so Sherry, nice question. We are working on that issue about hiatal hernia. We're gonna have a library just for the hernias. So hopefully, I don't know if you're talking about hiatal, but I know you've been asking about hernia. So we actually have a library that we're creating for that, and we'll let you know about that one soon. There's certain things that the Genius is great to use for, and there are certain things that the Genius is not so great to use for. So I really would never use it as a pregnancy test. That would just not be something I would think that the Genius would be fantastic to use for. When a woman is pregnant, the best practice is not to do any physical application. So in other words, if she's going to listen to it, don't listen to it through earphones. Just listen to the sound from the device that's in the room. Don't take any of the Genius, the Flower of Life wristbands. Don't put any wristbands on. The chance that any of that would make a difference in the pregnancy is so tiny anyway. But just to be super best practice, if you know someone's pregnant, just have them listen to the frequencies either over the Zoom or just with the device in front of them. Don't do any physical applications. And that's way overkill, but that would be the way to help them. Obviously, don't run any frequencies that's says induce labor, just common sense. You would do wellness frequencies. You might see some things, in the Genius that could indicate that the hormones have changed, but I wouldn't rely on it because really it's just giving us stress disturbances, showing us frequencies that need to be run. So I would just rule it out as a barometer or a way to measure a pregnancy, but you definitely can still work with a pregnant person. These are subtle frequencies. The frequencies of the Genius, they work in partnership with the person's innate intelligence, your higher consciousness. These are subtle frequencies that are making changes. At the minute that they're applied, they change consciousness, they change the energetics of that person. That being said, there's no contraindication for pregnancy. So let's talk about the basics of the Genius, and please continue to send your questions. Again, these are highlights from the Learning Intensive. You can go to geniusbiofeedback.com, and right now it's under mini course. So just click on the mini course under the Learn section, and this is some highlights from it. So basically, what is the Genius? The Genius is a stress reduction tool. The Genius works in the energy field. It's non-invasive, it's non-harmful, it's non-toxic. Anybody, children, infants, animals, anybody can utilize and take advantage of the wonderful technology of the Genius. The Genius works through the voice, and now analyzing the voice, analyzing the picture. It also incorporates that date of birth. It seems to read the person even just with the picture based on what we've seen, but best practice is when you can get a voice is to utilize the voice, because the voice engine has been worked on and worked on and worked on and worked on by the developer. He's taken MIT created technology, so technology that was created at MIT in order to capture that voice as a waveform, and then he's been able to develop it particularly for the Genius. And so it really gets an accurate assessment of where that person is in terms of frequency at this moment. And then once the frequency is captured, it goes through a process where it's compared to all these other frequencies in the program. And it's comparing them, saying, is there a match between these two frequencies? What is the relationship of these two frequencies? If there's sort of like a mismatch or there's stress between the two frequencies as analyzed through the proprietary algorithm, it's going to give you a high number or a low number. It's like the edges or the ends of this scale indicate where the imbalances are. Or sort of a better way to say that, it's the edges of the scale that tell you which frequencies are required today. So your 777, if that was a mineral or a vitamin or an herb, those are the frequencies that are needed today. Not necessarily the herb itself, but certainly the frequency. And it may give us clues and hints about physical things that are needed or physical things that are going on, but we never go from point A to point B. We may need more analysis to really figure out if, when it says magnesium is blue, does the person need magnesium? Now, we don't know that yet, but if we look at the person, we ask more questions, maybe we ask other questions about magnesium deficiency, we may come to that conclusion. But what we can say is that that frequency that is in blue would be very important for that person to put it in the tray and run it for them. So that's where we're going with that. All right. Is there any problem working on people with compromise, who are compromised through major disease? I'm not sure what you mean by compromised. Are you talking about their immune system being compromised? What is compromised? Any problem with working on people who are compromised through major disease like ALS, cancer, MS, etc.? Deborah, you can work on all of those people. You can absolutely work on all of them. And many of our practitioners over the year have worked on all of those. I would recommend Practitioner Level 2 called Healing Chronic Cases. And what that does is it teaches you how to work with many, many symptoms at one time, and also to understand what cancer is. All right. So when you're talking about the genius, you're referring to a quantum biofeedback technology. And I want you to know that these technologies have been around for 25 to 30 years. But the genius is a major leap forward in terms of its mobility, and it's being so dynamic, and also not having to pay for software upgrade after software upgrade. So the quantum biofeedback technology that has existed or existed before the Genius was the Skio, the Asira, the Zyto, the Cyberscan, the Quest9. Now, they're all fine. They're quantum biofeedback technologies. They come with, you have to do it on a computer. It has to be with a big box connected to it. Often we're putting headbands and wristbands around the person. That's all fine. If you like to practice like that, that's all fine. You get good results. But if you like to be able to put your iPad in your purse or in your, in a computer case and take it with you anywhere around the world, you have that mobility, you have that dynamic ability. It doesn't take, 10, 15 minutes to boot up the system, then you want the Genius. And obviously the price point is a big difference too. But what we talk about with the Genius is we talk about quantum biofeedback technology. It's a similar technology. It's just that we are able to deliver it in a way that is much more up to speed with where we are today. We want to start quickly. We want to get quick answers, and we just want to be able to take it anywhere. It can't be clunky. And we want to be able to work remotely with anybody over a Zoom. All of these things are possible with the Genius, right? So our basic package starts at little as $9.97. There are other packages for libraries, for training, for being a practitioner, all of these things, but you can basically learn, use it on any smartphone or any tablet. So the reason that this is important, why the Genius works the way that it does, is because everything is frequency. Everything in the universe has a frequency, and we have a very particular frequency to us. And so that is why the Genius is working, because when we're sick, we're resonating at a certain frequency. And when we're really, really healthy and we feel great, that is actually a different frequency. What if we could use a technology in order to shift from the disease frequency to the healthy frequency? And that happens through a process of entrainment. The reason frequency works is because the frequency is around us, or we're using the frequency in a particularly deliberate way. So you can listen to frequency and be affected by it, or you can just have the frequency playing around you, even just the frequency being generated by your iPad or your iPhone. That is the frequency coming from the Genius is affecting you, and you can add effect by listening to it. This was the original work of Raymond Royal Rife. So Rife was a genius in the 1920s and 30s, and he worked with this type of frequency technology. And he was able to show in his microscope when certain frequencies were played that there would be a major change in the ability of a virus or a bacteria to survive in the body. And he kind of showed that there were certain infections that might have been related to cancer. The things that are hidden or not talked about with Rife is how many cancers he was able to cure with his technology, with his non-invasive, non-toxic technology. And they certainly tried to suppress his information and shut him down because of his magical frequencies. He knew how powerful frequencies were and how they could transform and how they could heal. So we're very much made up of frequency. We have frequencies. There's a frequency that's being electrically produced by your brain, and they can measure that with something called an EEG. There's a frequency around your heart, and they can measure the electrical activity around your heart with an EKG. And acupuncturists can feel the energy around your body through feeling your pulse, measuring certain things, looking at your tongue and so forth. They know where there's stagnation in the different meridians of the body. And they use their needles to actually open up that energy in certain areas or shut down, decrease the energy in certain areas. But they are energy practitioners through their acupuncture. We do it through pressing a button and playing frequencies. They do it through their needles, but it's the same effect that we're looking for. All right, so let's see if you have some other questions here. My software is not allowing me to run the aura after running a session. How do I do it? So Beth, the very best practice when you have a particular issue that is related to a technical issue is go to the navigation bar. That is the 3 horizontal bars at the top right of your screen in System Overview. Now, when all the menus appear, look for where it says Bug Report. Now, send that bug report in and you should get a response within a short amount of time. If you don't, you certainly can send us a message, support@geniusbiofeedback.com. Now, let me tell you a little secret. If you have any technical issue on your device, you can probably solve it yourself by deleting the Genius and then reloading it to the newest version, log in, restore your database. We have found that that resolves about 90 to 95% of all issues, technical issues with the Genius. Okay, Christine says, when you say compared to other frequencies, what are those other frequencies? Those are frequencies that are in the chakra panel. Those are frequencies that are in the solfeggio panel. So we're comparing your frequency, which has been evaluated through the voice, to 528 hertz. And then the algorithm says, how are these related? So that's a proprietary sort of secret process where they're saying, how are these two frequencies connected? And then it is calculated to say, hey, 528 would be a great or beneficial frequency for you today. So Christine, let me know if that answers your question. Okay. Okay, I deleted the Genius on my iPad, but I can't find it in the Apple Store. So let's just briefly talk about that. Let's talk every single person to let you know. If you have an Android device, the Genius is available in the Google Play Store. There are a little bit of controversial or issues that we can't resolve at this time, so it is not available in the Apple Store. It's called an enterprise app. That is a very important ability of any developer to be able to have an enterprise app. I wish more developers could do it. It gives them a lot more autonomy, independence, and so forth. So let's talk about where to find an enterprise app. If you go to geniusbiofeedback.com, so really pay attention to this. Who asked this question? This is for Sandra. So Sandra, write this down. Go to geniusbiofeedback.com. Here we are, geniusbiofeedback.com. Go to the Learn menu, and you see where it says here, Genius reinstall links. We're going to click on that. And your Genius reinstall link is always going to be right here. Apple iOS Genius link. So if you need to delete it and reinstall, bookmark this page so that you can always find the links to reinstall your Genius. All right, so I think there was one other question here. And is the Genius technology as powerful as Rife machines? How does it compare? So of course, that's a very, very difficult question to answer, but the Genius is a biofeedback technology that runs subtle frequencies that are personalized. So typically a Rife machine, you have to choose the frequency. So it means you're more subjective in your selection of the frequency. So the Genius is going to calculate what frequencies are needed for that person. Do you know which Rife frequencies the person needs? No, you're guessing. And these are not subtle frequencies. These are sort of just played at the raw hertz frequency, whereas the Genius is always playing other frequencies that are harmonic frequencies, but are also just always in the background. I think, you know, what Ryan Williams's creativity has been to set up the Genius so that those frequencies are well assimilated by the person. This is more of a subtle proprietary process that he's done. Every time you're playing the Genius, you're also playing other frequencies in the background that are subtle, that are healing, that are very helpful. So powerful, I wouldn't say powerful. These are different types. I like the subtle. I like the things that give people a gentle hint to remind the body to heal itself. And that is what you're getting more in the Genius and in a quantum biofeedback technology in general. So I don't know something that you can customize so much for that person as much as the Genius. And that's going to be a big difference when you're working I would say the Rife machines are more clunky. Could they have a place? Yes, you may want to use an adjunct of your Rife machine and the Genius, but I wouldn't be without the Genius. That would be my first go-to. All right. So remember that the Genius is a very holistic. There are very few places where you could actually select to work with somebody on the emotional level, to work with somebody on the spiritual level, to work with someone on the mental level, the physical level, all of those levels, all putting them in your main hold tray and hitting the play button, and you're off to the races. So this is very different from the allopathic model, which seeks to separate out different systems as if the body could be broken up into these mechanistic pieces. And so this doctor is going to work on your heart and then you're going to go down the hallway, and then you're going to see a doctor who's going to work on your kidneys. And somehow we have to see all these separate specialists, right? Wouldn't it be better to see the body as something completely holistic and constantly influenced? So anytime you touch the energy in the body, in the biofield, you're influencing the whole being. So that's why you could run something like the solfeggios, and this is a good exercise, is just put all of the solfeggio frequencies into the tray and only do that for 7 days in a row. That could be life-changing because you're playing the solfeggio frequencies, right? And they're affecting your whole being. And as your heart changes, your liver changes. And as your liver changes, all of these other things begin to change. Maybe your pineal gland, they're all affecting each other. So the body is this incredible interconnected web of energy. And really any frequencies that you're selecting from the Genius are going to be beneficial. I really want to stress for people, you do not need to be a doctor. You do not need to be a holistic health practitioner. You just need to understand the basic concepts of the Genius and then put the red and blue items into the tray. So the reds and the blues indicate the frequencies that are needed at this moment for that person. The reds and the blues, the highs and the lows. You don't need to understand what the frequencies are. But as an advanced topic for yourself, take our practitioner courses, learn the basic concepts of health, practitioner levels 1 through 8. Those would help you. But today, all you need to do is add the reds and blues and hit the play button, and you will be successful. You know, you're working with the biofield, you're changing the biofield. And what's important to remember is that things change for a person in the biofield first, before those frequencies get laid down into the physical body. And the Genius is reading the biofield, which what is that telling you? That's telling you you're kind of on the leading edge. You're out there maybe before the thing happens, right? So you're able to shift things in that biofield that ultimately are going to be laid down into the physical body. And that's very, very exciting to think about. We talked about this. And when you're taking homeopathics, did you know that homeopathics are basically another way of applying genius frequencies? Because homeopathics are just energy. They are energy that's been imprinted into water. Sound familiar? So basically, there used to be an herb or there used to be a remedy, but all they do for homeopathy is they keep making it more dilute. Now think about that for a second. That's mind-blowing. In order to make your homeopathic more powerful, you dilute it more. So they might take the plant, right, that makes up arnica, and they take a little bit of the plant, right, they put it in water, and so you have some molecules of the remedy. Well, they shake it when it's in water, and then they dilute it 10 times more. And then they shake it up and they dilute that dilution 10 times more until there are literally no molecules in the remedy. So what are you left with? The water impression, the impression or the memory of that remedy, which has been impressed into the water. What do you get when you make a remedy with the genius? You're getting the frequency impressed into the water. It's amazing. And you're applying the pure energy through the genius. You're applying those frequencies without the water through sound to the person where they're receiving those frequencies. The genius is life-changing. To be able to find out what frequencies you need, and you can sort of extrapolate from there what might be going on, what might be occurring. And then you can take those very frequencies and apply them immediately to make the correction that you need, right? It's like navigation. Right? When you're flying somewhere or you're driving somewhere, you're always checking your GPS, you're checking your map, you're checking your location. The genius allows you to check your location where you are. Is this out of balance? Well, I want to make a correction by hitting the play button. And now my navigation is, I'm going to be able to correct where I was going in the wrong direction. And now I'm back on track. In fact, I feel better. I feel like I'm back on track. Where else can you get that type of a navigation system? It's only through all of these different tests that we do, right? They're very expensive and they may not be accurate, and we certainly can't do them every day. That's why the genius is so exciting. It's so unique. I just want to go to a few other concepts here. Now, we have done a pilot study on the genius. Did you know that? Did you know that we have done a study? We've done a study on the genius to basically test to see if it made a difference. The genius made a difference in showing that it reduced stress factors that were significant, okay? In the pilot study, which we can get you a copy of, we were able to find that the subjects in the study showed significant reduction in stress factors, and most people who have sessions report that they sleep better almost immediately. So we want to share that with other people. There has been research on the genius. It's shown that it reduces stress. And that's really, really important. And remember that we've published information in a Quantum University dissertation that basically says 7 is the magic number, that 7 weeks of frequencies sent to somebody's quanta capsule made an important improvement in sleep and energy. A 59% improvement in energy and a 39% improvement in sleep quality. The genius does make a difference. Okay, so keep your questions coming. When you're using your genius during the week, make sure you come here with questions. Will you speak into or confirm there are indeed frequencies being sent to the client's energetic field during the voice analysis? What we're doing in the voice analysis is we're not sending frequencies to that person. We are receiving information through their voice, through the microphone, which is then interpreted by something called the fast Fourier transforms, the FFT. And that is the MIT technology that was then utilized by Ryan Williams to be able to assess that person's frequency. So will you speak into or confirm that there are frequencies being sent to the client's energetic field? No, it's not being sent out, it's being taken in. Some users have been doing investigative scans without sending harmonizing frequencies, and sometimes, I don't know what that means. So sometimes users have been doing investigative scans without sending harmonizing frequencies. I have no idea what you're saying there. And sometimes a client will give unfavorable feedback about their energy field being interpreted, such as their fibromyalgia clearing up, flaring up, or they're going back out of alignment. Okay, Rosemary, I love you to tears. I think you're amazing, part of our wonderful community, but I'm going to have you send me an email to, I really am not getting the gist of what you're asking there. She says, is it advisable to not ever choose to do an investigative scan without doing any harmonizing frequencies? I've not heard of any of this. I don't really know what the issue is that you're getting at, so please email me and we'll take up your question from there. And I really do appreciate it. So I want to let you know that the Genius runs through voice analysis, and that is where we're taking in information, interprets the voice as frequency, as a waveform. This frequency is compared to other frequencies in the program, and each one is tested very, very quickly, very rapidly. So once you have the process, you have the technology for the process, it can be repeated over and over again. And the developers sort of cut down on the time it takes to do that, so we can run hundreds of frequencies at one time and get a result. And then those scores are between 0 and 777. The scores that are 200 or below, or 600 or above, those are the ones that are significant and indicate these are the frequencies that are needed today. These are the frequencies that are needed today, indicated by those blue and red colors. So if you're a new practitioner, and we warmly welcome all of our new practitioners, new Genius users to our community, the only thing you need to do today as a Genius practitioner, know how to record the voice, know how to take the picture, know how to talk about this as a stress disturbance, then know how to pull those red frequencies and blue frequencies into the tray and press the play button. That really is all you need to do in the immediate as a practitioner. That's the only expectation. Can you add things to it? Can you learn how to better interpret? Can you learn how to better select frequencies? That's what we do in all of our trainings. But in the immediate moment as a beginner, all you need to do is pull the reds and blues and put them into the tray. That's what is the most important thing to do. Okay, so the scores in red and blue let you know which frequencies you need today. Then you place those items into one of the trays. There are 3 trays in the Genius. There might be even more, but I'll have to think about it. There is the quick zap at the top. And so that's going to be for a few focused frequencies. So when you already know, hey, I want to run the solfeggios and I want to work on my hormones. So I'm going to take the solfeggio frequencies and a few of the hormones and put them up into the quick zap. Boom, that's all I need to do today. If you're really new, then you'll probably want to get familiar with the quick balance, which is right at the bottom here. The quick balance will automatically balance any reds and blues that are on the page or on that screen. So whatever reds and blues are there, you hit quick balance. You don't have to do anything to add anything to a tray. It will just automatically balance the reds and the blues. Then the main hold tray at the bottom, this is like your maha. This is your big tray. This is when you have a lot of disparate types of categories. You have things like today's stress. You have things like hormones, neurotransmitters, vitamins, minerals, and you kind of want to lump them all together, and then you want to shake out which is the top priority today, because that'll give you a hint and more information about the case. So when you have a whole bunch of things that you want to test, you want to see which ones stack up at the highest level of priority, you put them all into the main hold tray, and that's the tray at the bottom. Then you hit that play button and it takes you into another screen, which we have called Progressive Insights. Once you're in Progressive Insights, then it allows you to prioritize the frequencies and see which ones are the highest level of priority for that person at this moment. And then you learn more about what's going on with that person through that prioritization. But it's very, very easy to get started from that perspective. Okay, Marie-Helene, she says, how is the percentage of rectification percentage calculated since there is no new capture of the voice. Okay, there's a lot of concern about artificial intelligence. Artificial intelligence is not being utilized in the Genius. It's just simple mathematics. So what, and we've explained this many times about the Genius, but this is a very sort of one of the most asked questions. So when you get a rectification percentage, when you go into Progressive Insights and you run for 1 minute, 3 minutes, 10 minutes, it will give you a percentage that the person has rectified. How much have they been able to take in that encoded information and make some type of a transformation or change in their field? That is measured through an if-then scenario. What it does is it calculates in a very surprisingly precise mathematical calculation. If the person runs these 10 frequencies for 3 minutes, we predict this will be how much they will rectify. And because of the programming of Garnett, this gentleman that helped the developer in developing, because his probability projections are so precise, they are very much informing us pretty much as if we did do a brand new scan to see where they moved from one scan to the next. That is to say that yes, we're not re-recording their voice and their picture, but it very well predicts what the outcome would be. And remember, the rectification is just a quick and dirty, you know, like how well does it seem like they're taking in this information? And it has been very informative over the years, because almost without exception, you will have someone who has a lot of emotional blocks, or they're very dehydrated. And these are the people who are very, very slow to rectify. Or you might have a lot of juicy things in that tray, like a lot of emotional trauma, past trauma, and they're moving through that rectification 10%, 11%, they're just not moving. It almost always is very, very accurate, but that's a very, very excellent question. Thank you. And keep your questions coming. Very good questions today. I appreciate it. Okay, remember, anybody can learn the Genius. So if you're recommending the Genius to someone, and they're saying, but I don't understand these things on here. Are they medical? What am I going to do? They're not. They're just basically working with stress disturbances. And if they can identify the colors red and blue, then they should be good to go. Yes, if you have to jump off the Zoom, remember to hop on YouTube. I do that all the time when I'm listening to someone. I jump on, oh my gosh, they're available on YouTube. I can do it while I'm driving. I can do it while I'm multitasking. So if you have to jump off our Zoom, just jump on my YouTube channel, look for Ariel Policano on YouTube. Okay, let's go ahead and get in our volunteer for today. So to volunteer, you had to send in your date of birth. So let's see if Deborah, if you're still here and you'd like to do your scan, let's go ahead and find you here. You're still with us? Okay, Deborah, you're gonna see yourself promoted to a panelist, and we're gonna work with you. So keep your questions coming. Over the next, probably the next few weeks, we're going to keep coming back to basics. So if you know your basics, come to class. If you want to know your basics, come to class. If you want a review of your basics, come to class, because you will, even if you know them, you're going to get them on such a deeper level. So we really want to cover the basics for the new people in our community, but also to really help people understand. I still get questions to this day where people say, Ariel, I've been using the Genius for a year, but I really just don't know how to talk about the Genius. What do I say to people about how it works? And so we want to get through that together. Come to our basics class for the next few weeks so we can really talk about this concept. So when you're out there promoting your practice or just offering people sessions, that you can feel super confident in what you're doing. And that's our goal, is we want you to really feel like you can explain very competently what the Genius is doing, and that we do have proof of concept through our research, through the dissertation that Annette Landman did, through the study, the pilot study that we've done. We want people to know that, so we want you to bring that information to them. And we did really kind of drive a lot of these concepts home in the business launchpad. So that really may be a course that you want to take, or if you've taken it, you want to go back and review those videos where we really got into how to talk about this. So let's go ahead and go to Deborah. And Deborah, we're going to ask you to join us now. and we'll still continue to take your excellent questions. Okay.
Ariel,
Deborah, how are you?
hi. I have to leave in 20 minutes, so I don't know if I'm still a good
No,
volunteer.
we're gonna be done by the top of the hour, maybe just a scoosh after that. So I think
Oh,
you're gonna have plenty
okay.
of time. So tell us now, do you have the genius or are you trialing the genius?
I have the Genius and I've had it for many years. I kind of got on it but I don't know how to do it anymore. It's been years, so I'm starting from
Well,
scratch.
welcome back. Welcome home. Thank you for joining us. That's so exciting. All right. Well, let's go ahead. Do you remember? Let me just re-educate you a little bit. In just a moment, I'm going to record your voice. I'm going to record it off of the Zoom, but you can see it right here. And I'm going to ask you to say your name and then say the letters A, E, I, O, U. I would say, my name is Ariel Policano, A, E, I, O, U, A, E, I, O, U, A, E, I, O, U. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay, so in just a moment, I'm going to count down from three, two, one, and then I'll start recording. So I will start recording your voice in three, two, one. I'm recording.
My name is Deborah Oshiro, Aiou, 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 Aiou.
Actually, you did it perfectly. That's great. All right, so now I'm going to take your picture. So that is the picture aspect of utilizing the Genius, and you could take that from anywhere. You could be on a Zoom, you could be on a FaceTime, you could be on a Google Hangout. Anybody can do this for people all over the world, which is what is so exciting because we are connected through all of these different wonderful ways. We don't have to be in person. Let's have you a big smile or a little smile. Okay. All right. When do you remember when you got the Genius? It was just years ago. Was it back in the beginning, or were you from the Infinity days, or
Yes.
yeah, okay, all of the above. All right. So now we're just analyzing the picture, so that adds more information. There's a lot of energetic information in your picture that people probably don't realize. There's a lot that you can learn from the picture. And so we're analyzing now, we're analyzing the voice in the picture and bringing that information together to tell us what are the frequencies that we need most today. Now, is there anything in particular that you're working on, or you have any goals for working with your Genius?
Um, okay, when I start up on my Genius again, I just want to check how my chakras are.
You want to check the chakras. Is there anything in particular like that are you like tired, or what is there anything that you're working on in particular?
Mm, Not really. I'm just, I have stress going on.
Okay,
I
so
just
that's
recently
great.
had a
So
leg
this is,
injury.
like we said, perfect for reducing stress. All right, well, Deborah, we are going to let you sit back and enjoy the fun. So I'm going to let you just hang back and we're going to check in with you in just a little bit after I get rolling here, okay? You'll probably be done by about 5 minutes or so past the hour.
Okay, great.
All right, perfect. Okay, fantastic. I'm just having a little trouble getting the reflector up. That's why I was just taking a moment here. So I did do her scan in the meantime so we get started. And what I noticed is I think you're going to notice right away as well is something very, very interesting. So let's go ahead as I bring up the scan here. What do you notice about her scan? Hopefully it'll come up sometime soon. There we go. Okay, so what do you notice right away about her scan? Is there anything that you notice right away from Deborah's scan? Is there something that you notice right away from her scan? Let me know. And let's see. Good review. Thank you. Thank you, Janine. There's always something I've forgotten. I know, I totally agree. When you have something like this, it's so nice to hear the basics several times because there's always something that kind of, sneaks in there that you didn't know before. Now you get to master that information, which is great. Lots of red, no blue. Sherry, you're the star student for the day. Absolutely love it. Appreciate you being here. One of our longtime users. So Sherry, thank you. So yeah, lots of red, but not a lot of blue. That's fascinating. And so this could then be that there's a lot of heat in the system. There's inflammation, there's irritation, something going on like that. Things are more inflamed. There's more maybe an acute thing that where she's trying to kind of work something out. So that's kind of fascinating. Let's even take a picture of that. So you can see emotional 761, brain EEG 708, hormones 749, infection energetic disturbance 740, electrical sensitivities. So there's a lot. It almost gives this feeling of being overloaded or overwhelmed in some way. And she did say she felt that she was experiencing a lot of stress. Let's go ahead and look at the aura. All right. I don't know if you heard or not, but she said she was having leg pain too. Oh, good to know. Yeah, I did not hear that. So thank you, V. All right. Excellent, excellent. Okay, fantastic. Okay, so let's see how this aura shows to us. Very interesting aura. Wow. I guess, Deborah, if you wouldn't mind answering in the chat for the moment while I continue to work, do you do any type of spiritual work, or do you do any type of qigong, or do you do something on a daily basis that helps you to clear yourself? Because what is remarkable about this aura is that it doesn't have hardly any gray or black within the aura. So you rarely see that. And that yellow comes through nice and clear and nice and strong, which generally means a pretty good vital force. And that yellow, of course, is related to third chakra. So third chakra, we're thinking about issues of empowerment. We're thinking personal empowerment. We're thinking about issues that have to do with all the organs around that third solar chakra. So pancreas, spleen, liver, digestion in general. We're thinking about that, but it looks nice and strong. But that is the thematic issue, is the one that's closest to that center of the aura. Then we have blue. Then we have a little bit of, it's almost like a brown color. And then we have green. So we have a strong heart chakra energy coming through. So you may create or heal yourself best by connecting with your heart. What is the most important to you? Okay, so Deborah says, I'm an energy healer and I meditate. Well, Deborah, that's so apparent in your aura, that whatever you're doing with energy healing for yourself and whatever you're doing because of your meditation, which is very powerful, that is showing up in your aura. That's so cool. Well, let's go back out here and let's look at some concepts of a basic process that you can use to get started with. So one way to do this is you could go through all the reds and blues that are on the screen. So this is another way that you could get started, is what you would do is you would take all the reds and the blues for your, I think she said she wanted to balance her chakras, and you would just use this button right here where it says bulk drag items, and we're going to pull down just the reds here from the chakras and put those in the tray. And then we're going to pull from spiritual protection, and we're going to put the reds in the tray, and we're going to put the blues in the tray. And then we're going to go ahead and we're going to go to the next one. Where's the next red or blue? Spinal energy. I like to stack them from highest to lowest. Wow, that's interesting. Here, it's kind of reverse. We have one red and we have a whole bunch of blue. But you know, overall, once again, now there is a lot of blue, but I've hardly ever seen this much green and this much yellow in the spine. So once again, are you doing any type of yoga or something that would help you to balance your spine and keep it? Maybe it's that energy healing, because that looks very, very good. And one of the most important places for health in the body is health in the spine. However, there's something in spinal energy that is sort of irritating her today. And that's why we wanted to go to this particular library and then go ahead and balance it. And then today's stress. Let's go ahead and let's pick up on hormonal, heavy metal toxicity, and environmental. And heavy metal toxicity and environmental could go together because there might be some funny things that they spray in the sky, right? And so that could be the heavy metal, and it could be coming from the environment. Okay. And then something with hormones. And again, you don't need to know as a new practitioner, you just need to become skillful at selecting the red and blue items. So now we're going to go to electrical sensitivities. Wow, that actually looks fairly significant. And we see, there we go, electrical appliances, metallic implants, radio waves. That's interesting. And let's go ahead and infection, energetic disturbance. So when there's nothing that's red and blue, we get a lot of questions about this. There's just not enough items in this particular panel to go to get that extreme red or extreme blue. So you want to then choose the top yellow item and the low green item as a way to get some meaning. Now here's a problem or something that you may want to comment about in some feedback to the developer. I would normally, if spinal energy came up, I would say, well, pull down the entire spinal energy. But what it does is instead of just choosing, pulling down a single frequency to represent spinal energy, it'll pull down every item within spinal energy. And I don't think that's what we want. So I think it would be beneficial to tell the developer, well, we made a little boo-boo when we made a decision. If we pull, let me just show you here. If I pull spinal energy up into the quick zap, look what it does. It adds all of the items from spinal energy. Is that what we want? I don't think that's what we want. What we want when we select that is either it's a singular frequency that represents all of spinal energy, or another thing that could be done is it automatically selects the red and blue items. But I don't think we wanted to take all of the items. So you can let me know your opinion. What do you think would be best? Because I don't know what the biofeedback purpose of dragging in all the items would be. That doesn't make any sense, but you can let me know what you think. Okay, we go to hormones, and then we can pull in all the red. So it says ghrelin, that has to do with appetite. Progesterone, that goes low when somebody's postmenopausal. Thyroxine is related to the thyroid, and insulin is related to blood sugar. So we get sort of a thematic check in there. Estrone related to the reproductive hormones. Hang on, you guys. And gastrin related to something from the stomach. Hopefully we can keep the energy flowing here with our reflector. Come on, reflector. Boom, come on back. There we go. All right, come on now. There we go. Everything's not perfect, but we're getting there. Okay, so then we go to brain EEG. So again, let's go ahead. We can do that low blue, and let's bring in the top yellow item. And then emotional, so all the emotions. This is always good. I'm always, I'm sort of guarded about how much I reveal to the person because they could just get triggered just by the items in there, right? But I just do say, oh, everybody has emotions. We all have charged emotions. It's good to sort of do like almost like a hygienic cleaning, like clear yourself of any charged emotions on a regular basis. Usually people understand that. And so with that, I also want to bring in the Bach flower essences, because those are important to bring in for emotional healing and for just overall body healing. So let's bring in the reds and let's bring in the blues. And now let's take those items and go to Progressive Insights by tapping on this right here. We're going to go to Progressive Insights. And let's do this. All entities cleared: fear, hatred, grief, progesterone, remorse, grounding, insulin, horror, disappointment. You know, it's really interesting. A lot of emotions at the top. So that's good information to know, Deborah, that actually for you, emotions and flower essences may be the vehicle for you to heal your physical body. So that's kind of fascinating. So we've got a lot of, and there's that solar chakra that we saw in the aura. Wearing protective jewelry, that means charge the frequencies into the jewelry. All right, now let's look for the top flower essence, which is red chestnut. And let's go ahead and see. I think red chestnut is worrying about your loved ones, if I recall, worrying about others. Release anxiety. And yeah, when you're just sort of worried about loved ones, worried about others, that's where a lot of your focus is. And just letting that go, knowing that, spirit is taking care of all will be well. And let's see if there's anything else. Just a lot of emotional stuff coming up there. So let's go ahead and balance that for 1 minute while we answer some questions. And then we'll maybe rebalance. Then we'll go right to the aura and we'll sort of finish up for today. Will there be a replay of this on the webinar? Yeah, the webinar will be available for replay on my YouTube channel. So go to Ariel Policano, subscribe, hit that notification bell, and then you'll be able to be notified as soon as this webinar is available. Okay, Janine says, I've been noticing that with many, there's a lack of lower chakra colors in the aura. Perhaps with all the stress of the last few years, people are living in the upper chakras and not grounded in the 3D physical. But Janine, that may be your group of clients. So, people are drawn to, well, sort of your energy as a healer. They may be attracted to that. That may be just a common thing you're seeing in your population. I'm not seeing that, but I like your interpretation because I love it when biofeedback practitioners really think about what may be causing that, something that they're seeing as a pattern. So good for you for thinking about what the pattern might be. I also want to mention that, we've had people recently get the basic package, get the starter package. And I want to just say, if you got the basic or the starter, you're really missing out. Go to geniusbiofeedback.com and check out the desk reference success cards, because they are quick ways. They're little references that you keep with you as you're testing, and they really help you to learn the items on the Genius. So check out the desk reference success cards at geniusbiofeedback.com. Let's do a rescan. What a rescan does is, Marie Helen had asked, how does the rectification work? Going back to the rectification, right? And so what this did is it said, if we ran these high items for this amount of time, what would we see as rectification? We would see 49% harmony, 33% alignment, 33% energy flow. So harmony could be thought about as when things are in tune, right? Or they're sort of cooperating with each other. Alignment is how much are you aligned in understanding the information? Are you aligned with it? Do you understand the information? Energy flow is, are you releasing stagnation in the body given the frequencies that we're running? The energy flow was the lowest rectification. So therefore, maybe she needs to drink more water. Maybe she needs to get some more minerals or electrolytes. And again, maybe she needs to release some of that emotional stuff, the emotional charge, in order to open up the energy flow. So good question, Deborah. I like it. We're 38% rectification. You're looking for a rectification of 40% or more. And this is pretty close to it, so that's pretty good. But I'm going to do a rescan here. What a rescan does is it takes that information into consideration and says, given that we ran this selection of frequencies for 1 minute, now what can we say about what would be the priority? So some of those things we were able to clear the stress disturbances, and now we can move on to other things. So I'm going to be a little selective here, but go ahead. And so we see gorse, fear, remorse, low alpha, contempt, TH12, which is thoracic 12, thoracic 6, hatred, insulin, metallic implants, which that could be a titanium implant for a tooth implant, or it even could be something that you got from the suspicious things that they spray in the sky. There's a lot of things that could be metallic implants. We could talk about that at some other time. But so now we see gorse is moving from a place of hopelessness to a place of being more hopeful. But I do think, Deborah, for you coming back to the Genius and using the Genius every single day, balance the emotional panel, balance the spiritual protection panel, and balance the Bach flower essences. I think this is going to be amazingly transformational for you. And I'm so glad that you joined us today. I know you're going to need to get going, and we're going to wrap things up in just a moment anyway. And I wouldn't be surprised, Heidi keeps reminding me along with V that you said your leg hurts, but I wouldn't be surprised if all these emotional frequencies and the flower essences after you run them, all of a sudden you've forgotten that your leg pain was there in the first place. So remember, you don't need to always work on the exact physical thing in order to get the result. It's just by taking away a lot of these charges, they release inflammation, they release blockages, they release stagnation. So think about working from a different perspective. Think about you are an energetic director and you're directing the energy, just like the acupuncturist doesn't work on the knee. She works on the whole energy around the knee in order to move blood flow or change the channel or change the flow through the meridian. It's very interesting. And now we went to a full 58% rectification. So all of a sudden, sometimes even just telling the person like your energy isn't flowing as well as it could, they actually make an energetic change in their thinking, in their intention to open up the energy. That's why awareness is so powerful. Okay, so let's go and final thoughts here. We're going to answer some questions and we're going to get the final aura for today. And I know Deborah needs to go and I know many of you are going to need to go too. So we're going to wrap it up in just a moment. All right. What is the best library for poor sleep patterns? David, we created a library at geniusbiofeedback.com called the Sleep Deeply series. It is so good because it breaks out different types of sleep stress disturbances. Like one would be, I can fall asleep, but then I wake up. One would be, I can't sleep through the night. The other one is I sleep through the night, but I feel tired in the morning. There's even one for sleep apnea in there, the Sleep Deeply series at geniusbiofeedback.com. Very, very good questions. All right. So when an aura is weak, there is a tear in the aura and the spiritual entities come in there. That's an opinion. That's an opinion. So thank you, Heidi. I appreciate it. I appreciate your opinion very much. Okay, so now we've moved into this really incredible red color. I think she's gone right into energetically healing the physical body. So as I'm talking about it, let's see if Deborah, if you're still with us, if you needed to go, I understand. Let's go ahead and bring you in for 30 seconds of feedback if you're able to. And then look at that yellow. What's interesting about the yellow is now it has some fuzz in it, and we may need to go back and work on that solar chakra. Deborah, what are your thoughts about today's session?
I think it's great. I want to watch the replay.
Okay, did any of it ring true for you?
Yes. A lot.
Very good, very good. Okay, well,
So many highs.
You watch the recording and then maybe next week or we'll have back from you by email about what your thoughts were as you begin to interpret it. But it looks like energetically you went right into healing your leg because you went right into the main theme being the first chakra, which would also deal with physical healing.
So all the red in that first, wow, it really got red. So that means physical healing, because I actually fractured my patella, and it is, healing. I'm not quite 100%. So let me see how that goes.
All right, excellent. Thank you so much for being with us today. I really appreciate it.
Oh, thank you for picking me.
I'm so glad you're picking up the genius. Keep coming to class and we'd love to hear how you're doing.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, so cool because she's had it for a while. I love it when people like dust it off and it's like, well, I have this amazing tool here. I better start using it. All right. So why does my aura get cloudy after a positive balance? Remember, Melissa, that your field can go through peaks and valleys. So you come in, it might be cloudy and then it goes to nice, crisp, clear. Then you go to balance again, it might become cloudy for a while because you're kind of going up. You're here, you're going up. And then you're sort of diving back down into more stuff. You're processing more stuff. So not every aura is an ending aura per se. It could be sort of an intermediate aura. And if you want to see your aura sort of lighten and brighten really quickly, then just put all the solfeggios into the tray. Just go and bop all those solfeggios. I do want to make a mention about the solfeggios. So right here, what we could do is we could pull all of them into the tray. Let's go ahead. We're going to empty this tray. We're going to clear it. And now let's go ahead and add the red items, add the yellow items, add the green items, and add the blue items. Now I want to make a very important comment on this. Previously, when we would put all the solfeggios, we would have 9 of them. How do you do 9? Can I do, yeah, 9. We'd have 9 of them. All right, we'd have 9 solfeggios. And what does that mean about the solfeggios? It's the perfect harmonic. Do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do, right? It goes all the way up the scale. They're all in harmonics with each other. It's like listening to the Benedictine monks, Gregorian chanting, that type of energy. It's a perfect harmonic. However, recently, the developers added a frequency in here. Let's find it right here. So 432. I just want to say for the purists out there, this is not technically a solfeggio frequency, and it's not part of the natural harmonics of the solfeggios. But some people said they liked the 432 where they used to play the music and it was in the 432 scale. So he added it in. He didn't know where to add it, so he just kind of plugged it into the solfeggios. I don't know what the effect will be. You can certainly add 432 to any of your frequencies, but if you just intended to play the solfeggios only, then you may want to take this and remove it from your tray by hitting that X. And now you just have all 9 of the solfeggios in here for that harmonics effect. And typically if you do this, it's really nice to do this as at the end of a session for any of your clients to really lighten and brighten and sort of make the aura go to those beautiful colors that you're looking for. And often it will reduce that cloudiness. So please remember that we're here every Monday. We're here to teach you, to train you, to give you support. In the meantime, if you do have issues, you can go to support@geniusbiofeedback.com and you can catch up with us there. We answer every question usually within about 24 hours, if not within a couple of hours during business hours. We're really here for you. We want you to benefit from using the Genius and really enjoying it. So I just want to tell you about one class that we mentioned today, which is the Business Launchpad. And so you may want to check out the Business Launchpad. It's available for as little as $99 a month. But the reason for that is it will help you to start your business, make money from the Genius with really hardly any upfront investment. But it really helps you to talk about what the Genius is, how it works. And we really go over that and over that and over that. And we even created a business mastery guide. And like I said, you could do that for as little as $99 per month. All right. Thank you, everyone, for being part of our class today. Thanks for being part of our Genius community. We'll see you back next week.